y'all. We are back. I am back with season 4 of Let's Talk Life Excel. And now I've transitioned it to being a radio show, and I am so excited. And what better way than to get the year started with my mom.
Hi.
Hey y'all, y'all remember the Double Dose show?
Hey, y'all.
We are back at it. Today's topic we're gonna be talking about the Gold Diggers series. I know it's common to talk about gold, GOLD, when you're looking for that change those coins, but we're talking about goals. When you have aspirations, you have ambition, and life might be getting in the way. It's life, right?
Right.
So we're gonna be talking about Life Extra L, which is extra large, y'all. All right, y'all, let's get into it. Today's topic is it's time. So it's time. Now, when you think about that topic, Mama, what comes to mind?
What comes to mind is, there's a scripture that says it's time for everything under the sun. So when you say it's time, so that means it's time to go. It's time to move forward into that what you have birthed already. So it's just like when you're in the hospital and you have your beautiful baby, you don't just stay there in the hospital, you go. So right there, with that birthing of what has been birthed within you, it's time to take it and it's time for you to go.
Now, I'm all on board with that. I've been in certain seasons. I mean, when you have like a burning passion, you got this desire, you got this goal, and I mean, you on fire with it. You like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. And then life is like, are you sure? You sure about that?
Yeah, really.
Have you ever gotten to those times where it's like, okay, Lord, you gave me this idea, you gave me this promise. Now what do I do with it?
Of course, you feel like you stuck all over again, but really you're not. So you just have to. I think if you just take one foot forward, he'll continue to help you to move. But the thing of it is, you got to make the step. You got to make the first step. Now, God gives us the ideas, he births it, but he's not going to do everything for us. So we have to make a move. So it's time to put those feet into action.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Now, I've gotten to certain seasons in my life where I'm like, you know me, I get a plan, and by the next week, it's all done.
Yes.
Now, I've gotten better on that.
Oh, Lord.
I have gotten better on that. But I've had times where I was pregnant with something for a while, right? I heard this analogy say, well, it's actually a fact that elephants are pregnant way longer. I mean, it's like a long period of time. And I actually I'm going to ask Google real quick, y'all. But I want to say it's way more than 9 months. And the pastor was using the analogy because he was saying that elephants are pregnant with their babies for double the amount of times as let's just say a dog, right? Dog can get pregnant, have a litter in no time. And you're looking at your situation and you're like, man, I've had this dream for many, many years now. And X, Y, and Z, they told me about this idea, and then maybe a month or two later, they got it up and running. What do I do? What do I do when I'm carrying something that I've been carrying for longer than I desire to carry? What kind of advice would you give to someone who's been carrying something for a long time?
It's I think I've heard TD Jakes say this, what's in your hand? Use what you have to whatever that dream is, whatever it is, whatever you have around you, use it. Even if it may be someone you may know, that you can that can help you along the way. It does says, when you write the vision, write it down, make it plain. It also says so that someone can see it and run with it. So they're going to help you to run with it. So I say start where you are. Do not despise small beginnings. Because a lot of times we get these dreams, we're like, oh, we're going to be, I'm going to make a lot of money with this. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to buy the first thing I'm going to do, buy me a house, buy me a car. No, just take one step at a time. And you'll get there. You'll get there.
Now you said a lot. We're gonna unpack this. First of all, y'all, I Googled it, and it is 2 full years. An elephant is pregnant with their child, their unborn, for 2 full years. I mean, man, could you imagine that elephant like any minute now, whenever you're ready? 2 years. 2 years, y'all. And we the same way. When we have a promise, we're like, all right, it's been 2 years.
That's right.
It's been 2 weeks. Some of us it's been 2 minutes. And then, we're so eager. And I don't really think that that's a part of that is not all bad, right? It's being excited. And I think that on some level, God looks down on us and say, you know what? I am glad that she is excited. Right. I am glad that he is excited. He is being obedient. She is being obedient and taking what I have them to do, their assignment, and really looking into it. Because sometimes the first step is just getting familiar with the promise, the assignment. Right. Because not all assignments come with all the instructions.
They're not. And I believe he does that to help grow us, because it's all a process. Even after you birth it, you're still in the process of that thing until it's completed. And then guess what? Something else he's going to send for you to do.
Man.
And it starts all over again. But you have a little more information than you had from the first time. Right. You have a little more faith than you had from the first time, so you have more to work with.
You have a bigger toolbox, right? You have more tools in your toolbox. That's what I call it at work. And, I love what you said earlier. It's just really just taking those assignments as they come. Because sometimes when you're really getting familiar with the promise, or an assignment rather, and he has you to do something, or he says you will be this, or you will do this. Sometimes you have to go to the drawing board, and you may have to get out a whiteboard or a piece of paper and really just kind of write all the things out that he's telling you to do. This is some of I'm throwing out some wisdom, y'all. This is what I've learned helped me really understand what he's trying to do in my life. So I've taken some paper down, and I was like, okay, Lord, talk to me. Download what it is you have for me to do. Download what you want me to say and how you want me to carry it out. And sometimes he'll wake you up in the middle of the night. And have you ever been woken up?
It's all right. Yeah, I have.
I've messed that one up, y'all.
It's okay.
And you're like, man, I can't even get to sleep. It's so much on my mind. That's good to just take that time, and you may have to turn on the light, get a piece of paper and write it down. Right. That way you can see a fuller vision of what it is he wants you to do. And that's what we call vision, being able to see what the assignment is, or to be able to see a promise before it actually manifests. How have you depended on your vision?
Well, it plays a part of it. You can't get stuck in it. You have to be very careful with, visions and dreams, because they kind of, go together. So once you get that vision, for me, I just take it to God and say, did I hear you right? Because I remember when he gave me an assignment years ago, and I was like, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll go where you're ever to go. I was pumped up and ready, to go. He said, I want you to go into the prisons. I'm going to what? Going to where? He said, I want you to go into the prisons and sing, bring them some little joy, whatever. Right. And I'm like, but I've never been, at that point I was afraid of even going. I wouldn't even really go visit anybody, because I always thought that they would mistake me for an inmate and keep me.
You know what? Y'all. It's been a while since we done had a double dose show. And if you forgot, then you are clearly reminded. How they gonna mistake you for anything?
I don't know. That was just my frame of thinking.
You was going in there with orange or the jumpsuits.
And the first time I went in, before this time, I had on all white. And guess what? The inmates had on all white. But anyway, I did go. Okay. It was good. It was really good. I think I did it for about 2 or 3 years. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do? How do I get in it? I didn't know the first thing about getting into a prison. And so it just came to me, get a book, and just I just got they sent me uh directory of all the prisons, and I just start calling each one.
So
Till the door open, the door starts. They just started open. They didn't even know if I could sing or not.
Well, they took a chance and it paid off. So that was good. And that also shows you how when God have you to do something, he's going to open up the doors, and people are going to take chances on you that you didn't think people would take a chance on you. Sometimes we think, oh, I'm not qualified, or I haven't been, I don't have enough schooling. I haven't been to school yet at all.
Right.
I haven't had enough work experience, or I don't even speak that language. But when God have you to do something, he's going to open up the door, and he's going to put people in there to push you through the door.
And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be any obstacles, because that's what the enemy does. You know, that's a good sign to know that you're on the right track. When all of a sudden all this stuff start happening left field, that's a good sign to know that you're on right track.
Exactly. I agree. Because nothing is going to be a smoothly paved road, right? That is one of the, I would have to say, moments in your life, in your journey, where you're like, man, am I really on the right path? This is coming from here, the left, and this is coming from the right. And I have pressure in the front, pressure in the back, pressure at home, pressure at work, pressure with my kids. All, hell is breaking loose.
Right.
But those are the best times to see what you're really made of. How bad do you really want it? And I think sometimes God will just test us to see, well, are you really going to follow through? You say you're going to do it, but it's easier said than done.
That's right.
I mean, that's just a fact. So sometimes it's from the enemy, and sometimes it's from actual God. And then sometimes it's just life.
Right.
I think we
Things
blame,
happen.
right. We blame everything on the devil.
Right.
My pencil broke. The enemy had to get me. He only want me to write this book. No, just
the pencil just broke. Get another pencil.
Right, the pencil broke.
It just broke.
But we give him too much power. He doesn't have that power. Everything that he does, he has to ask permission for, right? And that's another area that I found myself in with 2020, y'all, was the wrestling aspect. Knowing that I had something to do, but not knowing how it was going to get done.
Right.
Not necessarily how to do it. I knew how to do it. I knew what to do. But I'm like, okay, look at these circumstances. How am I going to actually, get this off the ground? How am I going to actually implement this into my daily routine? Or how is this going to actually be successful in a time when everything is falling apart?
Right.
And that doesn't have to just be, last year with COVID or 2020. It could be in any time. How can I have a successful marriage if we're arguing all the time?
Right.
Still possible. How can I, really fulfill my leadership potentials and I feel overlooked? How is it going to get done? And just wrestling. And we looked it up, y'all. We did a recording earlier, and technology was not having it. But all well that ends well.
Right.
But we had a chance to look it up, and it was Jacob.
Right.
Jacob was the one wrestling.
Right. With the angel of God.
With the angel of God. And for me, it was wrestling with what I know he said to do. I know you said to do this. So if I know you said it, and not only did I know you said it, but I know you said it's time. And that's the reason for the show today, because I want to encourage you guys not to wait to a time where all of your circumstances align, where everything is falling together. Go ahead and step out of there. Step out. Go ahead and get the first step taken care of or accomplished. Get the ball rolling. It's time. And I think Jacob, he was like, it's time. It's time for me to have what you say is mine. And if I got to wrestle all night, we're going to wrestle all night.
And they wrestled for a bit.
They did. They
wrestled for a good bit until the angel just, not that Jacob overpowered him. The angel just touched his side. and they caused some problems there, and so he had to stop.
I was wearing that angel out. I'm gonna wear that angel out because when you have a promise and in your heart that you really committed to seeing it through, then you have a fight within you. Mm-hmm. That grit to say, I'm going to get this accomplished. I'm not going to fall prey or fall victim to procrastination.
Right.
I'm going to get it going.
Yeah.
And let me tell y'all, I ended up with a limp too. The angel touched my side too. I'm gonna go for me it was a knee. I'm gonna go and tap her on the knee real quick, and we're gonna end this, and I'm gonna eventually pave the way. And for me, once you wrestle and you win, because as long as you're in the fight, you're gonna win. It's a fixed fight.
That's right. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. So when you're wrestling, that is when you really show, hey, I really want this. I'm committed until I get clarity. I'm committed until I get an answer in the next step. Now, how do you feel about this? If you knock on the door and it doesn't open, it's not your door. How do you feel about
that? That's been coming up lately. I've been watching different little shows and stuff, and ministries and stuff, and some people's like, you need to stay at the door and you need to just tear it down and all this kind of stuff. And you remember I was told you I could see myself holding on to the doorknob with my feet,
right.
Trying to open it up. Sometimes it is where you should not. It shouldn't be forced.
Right, I agree.
It shouldn't be forced. Then other times it should be forced. Because as another scripture says, the right to take it by force. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's just an individual thing. It's no one set thing. Well, okay, she said, don't do it. No, it's an individual thing. So you have to know who you are, where you are with what you're dealing with, and you have to have the ear to hear that small, still voice. And sometimes, it's not always small. Sometimes he'll speak loud, but you got to be able to hear the voice for him to tell you to go. But all doors, just because a door closes, don't mean no. It doesn't mean no. Ooh, it may just mean it's just not yet. It's just not yet. It. You was talking about putting your foot in the door, so it wouldn't.
Oh yeah,
the door was closing on you.
I'm good at waiting for a door to open, but I'm not good at closing doors. Right. I'll be honest. Y'all know I'm all about transparency. So I will stick my foot in the door just so it don't close all the way, and I can kind of still see a little bit of the past. Mm-hmm. I know I ain't the only one out there. Somebody else is looking in the past too. Y'all looking back there, seeing what's going on, but really, I like what you said, because I agree. I mean, I feel like just because you knock on the door and he doesn't open, that doesn't mean it's not your door. Mm-hmm. It just means it's not the time for that door to open. Mm-hmm. He may have another door that's wide open. Mm-hmm. So I also like what you said, don't get stuck at the door.
Right.
So if it's not your door, find yourself a waiting room. I call it peace. Go back within yourself and say, okay, go into that waiting space. And I'm not talking about inactivity type waiting space, but in that waiting space where you're not overly frustrating yourself and you're not crying yourself to sleep, when you could just use that same energy to just wait.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. Whatever you're doing now, just keep doing what you're doing, and that door will open.
Right.
Because his promises, what he has promised you, is not going to fall short. His promises are yay and amen.
And y'all, I took that scripture, y'all ain't gonna lie, and I ran with it. I said, you said yes, but he said, I didn't say that, you said that. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
I kept on that.
So when he said his promises are yes and amen, then those are the things that you feel within your spirit that you are called to. You could be called to teach. You could be called to be a giver. You could be called to be a nurturer or a wife or a pastor, minister, whatever it is that you're called to do or to become or be, then those are the things that he will say yes to. Mm-hmm. So if you're not built for the single life, then you're probably not called to the single life. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. But you have to wait when it's your time for a mate. And y'all, I'll be honest,
And that's hard. That's really hard.
that is really hard. And there are several. There's a song that says levels to that. There are so many different levels to that. And if you're struggling with being single, you are not alone with that. You are not alone, because singleness takes you have to have a whole nother level of strength to be single, especially when you truly desire a mate.
Right.
Temptation, or just compromising, or my issue, settling.
Yeah, and I look at it like this, because I am single. During this season of singleness, I can go where I want to go. I can do what I want to do. I don't have to ask anybody. I don't have to report to anybody. I don't have to watch my clock, be back. All that is really good, because once once that mate is involved, then you have to communicate. You can't just go off on your own and just disappear.
Right. Where you been?
Where were you? You didn't know that every Saturday I do this. You didn't know that?
Yeah, but I knew you were single then. That would be my response.
So enjoy while you can.
Right. So it's just saying that every season has its benefits. Even if it's a season of waiting, find the freedom in that season. If you're waiting on if you've been putting in for a promotion at your job and you feel overlooked, I know how that feels. Especially when you're doing more than Susie or Beth. You're doing 10 times as more as someone else. And that level, that heaviness that comes from just the disappointment that, okay, a promotion comes up, you're overlooked. Disappointment can be definitely a pitfall. And it could be a place. It's a place. And if you arrive there in your emotions, it's because you're human. But you can't stay in a place of disappointment.
No, you have to move on. And it happens, way too often for a lot of people. I've experienced that in the past too. But I'm telling you, promotion for you is around the corner. It's what you do with it, though, before that promotion comes. Right. So are you gonna go to work in bitterness every day and hatred every day? No, that's not the way to go. You have to continue to love and to pray. A lot of prayers.
Exactly. And you have to learn. There may be so many skills that you can learn at that time. You can learn how to be an effective leader if that's what you're trying to be. You can start observing the leaders who are in the leadership positions and how do they manage their team, or how do they perform in that job title. You may even want to take the time to go back to school or take up another course or a leadership class. So like I said, with the last season, just the season of singleness, just look for the benefits of that season of waiting. You could be in a situation where you have a promise to start a business. You're supposed to start that business. Now, this is a time where the circumstances tell you, nah, that's not a good idea. But this is actually a good time to really getting in there researching.
It is a good time.
Because life is providing us with time. Okay, you have time to get your items in order. Like, what are your products? What are your goals?
Right.
Who do you want to service? And, how can you really be a benefit? I think if people who are, have a goal of starting a business this year, I really encourage you to really think about how your business will benefit the overall health of your community. A lot of times we go in business, and I've done it, and you're just thinking about yourself. How can I be successful at this? Or how can I make money with this? But when I really think, if you sit back and you have a more holistic view of it, you really put your customers in the mix. How are my customers going to benefit? And this is the perfect time to do a lot of research on that. So then that way, when you implement it into mainstreams, who knows, we might be back to a more normal routine, especially if you have a business that's going to operate best face to face. So this is a good time. And I thought 2020 was a perfect time because the whole world stopped. And I mean, it just was a pause. So everybody, you know how they're saying is you're not the only one going through this. In this whole still season, even in 2021, none of us are going through this alone.
That's right. And you said something interesting about how, we pause. But you know what? Time never stops.
No, it doesn't.
Time never stops. So what good time, this is a good time for you to start, like Shunte say, start looking at, what you want to do.
Right. And I wrote a quote about it, and I said, time, it doesn't speed up or slow down. It's just our perspective. Like, where are we in our lives? This time seemed to kind of drag, like you just can't wait to get home and just try again the next day. I've been in that season. That happened after my divorce. I mean, I just wanted to go to bed, y'all. I was like, you know what? I'm done with today. I don't know about y'all, but I come to some days where you just like, I'm done with today. I'm done with it.
That's right.
It's nothing else.
A wrap.
It's nothing else I'm going to be able to offer to anybody in this day. And that's okay too, but just trying to find your reasons, your whys. And I think your whys are like the highlight of everything, because no matter what you go through, as long as you can fall back on a solid why, then you're good. So for example, if you start a business, but it like you say, don't despise small beginnings. So I start a business and it's really small. I only have like 1 or 2 clients. I'm okay because my why is I'm doing this for the benefit of someone else.
Exactly.
So if it's literally one person at a time, then it'll be some one person at a time.
Right.
Then it might be some 10 people. 20, 100,000. For some of you guys, millions. Some of you guys are going to be able to positively impact the lives of millions of people. But you can't do that if you never use your time. It's time.
Never take a step.
If you never get started, you will never finish. You will never see the end of a thing.
And one thing about it, once you take that initial, that first step, God is there to help you. So you're in a win-win situation. Even if you make a mistake, mistakes, you can learn from mistakes. It's really a win-win situation. The ideal is the goal is to move forward. Because I was telling Sean the other day is that you cannot move forward looking backwards.
Oh man, say that one more time.
You cannot move forward looking backwards.
I have tried.
Prime example.
I have tried that, y'all. It don't work. I'm telling you.
Lot in the Bible.
I was just reading.
She looked back.
She looked back and turned into a whole thing of salt.
That's right, a whole thing.
And he said, "Don't look back." Man, I just had to I had to pause because I'm gonna be honest. Y'all know I'm all about transparency, and I have tried that. Moving forward, looking backward, it does not work. What happens is you're so focused on the past, you can't even see the new thing. What is scripture? I like the scripture. Say, I'm doing a new thing.
Right.
And then he says, can't you see it?
Can't you see?
You can't see. The answer gonna be no if you still looking back. That I can tell you right now, it's gonna be no.
And it's gonna be. We were watching a movie the other day, and it was. We're not gonna say the name. I don't even know that. I don't even know I don't even know the name of the movie.
Bless the movie heart.
It was so confusing because they were going in the past and in the future. So they were dipping in the past, coming back to the future, back and forth. And we was like, what in the world is going on?
I know. It was so confusing. And I'm pretty sure had we watched it again.
I don't even want to watch it again. That movie was 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours.
Waste of my time.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, say for instance, we decided to give it another shot. I think a second go round,
I would still be confused.
minus the bag of popcorn, minus the wings. But this is a good point. You don't get to go back and redo life. You cannot. You can rewatch it from the place of reflection, but you should only sit in reflection for so long too.
Right.
Because it's not to say that you should not ever reflect on the experiences that you have undergone, right?
Right.
Because you have to have some sort of self-reflection in order to continue growing. You have to say, you know what?
Right.
Well, last year, I was giving it a good twerk, right?
Right.
And this year though, I probably shouldn't be twerking.
Not as much anyway.
Well, I mean, do what you gonna do, y'all. But I'm just giving an example. Mama say go on twerk, but
I'm saying not as much.
Tone it down.
Yeah, tone it down.
Tone it down. Okay. So y'all, she's something else. I just can't sometimes.
You have to twerk with different people. Let's put it like this.
No, I don't think she knows what twerk means.
I do know the dance.
Yeah, but you can't twerk with certain people. That's
I'm
even worse.
Certain groups of people.
Y'all, we just gonna move on from twerking.
All right.
But the point of the story was, the moral of the story is, sometimes certain things that you used to do, you can't do anymore.
Right.
Right. So you can't see the growth if you don't look back. So it's good to have some moments of self-reflection. I try and do this quite often. At least once a week, I'll sit back and I'll reflect on the week and I'll say, okay, well, how was this week? Or sometimes it might be the day. Let me sit in a quiet space and really reflect on the day. Were there certain points in the day where I could have said it differently? Because sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That is for real. Could I have extended a little bit of generosity instead of being so self-serving?
Right.
And you got to be honest with yourself if you really want to see some sort of interpersonal growth. You can't, the one person you will never be able to lie to is you. You can try all day long, but at the end of the day, you and your spirit know the truth. You could be in a situation and know you dead wrong. You'll never have to tell a soul but your own soul, because you will have no peace. Thank you guys for tuning in. We see you guys comments. Hey, Keisha, checking out there. Anthony Thomas of Kingdom Talk. Anthony and Josephina Thomas. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we're talking, it's time. Because for a lot of us, and you know when it's time, you're like, Shunte, well, how do I know it's time for me? You keep saying it's time, but how do I know it's time for me? If you think about a goal, or if someone is talking to you and you're in the middle of a conversation and they bring up something inside of you, jump and get excited. Or you think about something you've been wanting to do for a long time and you get really excited about it, that's pretty good indication that it's time.
Every time you turn something on, there it is.
Boom. Repetition.
It could be a sign. There it is.
Some of y'all need signs. You can ask for them. I ask for them sometimes when I'm a little confused and like, I know this is something I want to do, but is this something you really want to do? Send me a sign. Now, you can't always depend on signs. Now, you can't live your life on signs.
You can't live it on sign. You can ask. Don't make it
But don't be surprised if he don't give you a sign.
Yeah.
If he say, I already told you. How many of y'all, you got kids. Duh. But how many of y'all out there got kids? And you done told them already. They asked you something. I'm just going to go with the most general. No. And they come back, they ask you again and say, no. They come back and I already told you no. For some of us, we go to God, hey, God, am I called to marriage? He says, yes. God, am I still going to have a husband? He says, yes. Are you going to send me a wife? He says, I know, yes. But he never gets impatient with us, and that's the beauty about him. But sometimes we have to just know that if we already got our yes, and if something motivates us, get us excited, it may be time to look into what are we supposed to do with that yes. Are we supposed to wait and trust and, give thanks? Are we supposed to research, read? Are we supposed to partner up? I know a lot of us say, well, you build in silence. Okay. You can build in silence all you want, but if you don't know what to do, you may want to consider speaking up a little bit and asking for help.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Y'all don't follow these memes to the point where you meme yourself out of a blessing. Somebody say, going back to the closed doors, I like one that says, for everybody who shut the door on me, I'm coming back to buy the building. I don't want to waste my investment on a building of closed doors that's not for me.
Wow.
That's so sometimes you got to apply certain things we see in social media, because we'll take those as signs. Let's be honest, our culture is set up to, if we see something, we've been praying on it, and we scroll on social media, the first little meme, we taking that as a sign that, oh, that's for me. But sometimes you got to be mindful of what you're saying. I'm going to come back and buy the building. Everybody close the door. Sometimes closed doors are redirection.
Right.
I'm going to go buy a building with some open doors. Because those open doors are going to lead me to the relationships that are beneficial to me. Right. They're going to lead me to the goals of, what he say, I'm do more things you haven't even thought of. Mm-hmm. So if I'm stuck on what's not for me, and I'm trying to come and just, I'm gonna conquer all of that. I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna hustle. Sometimes we grinding and hustling in the wrong direction, and we calling it work.
Right, and you said the key words you're saying is I'm.
Mm-hmm.
That's self-seeking. You're doing it on your own. When God gives us something, he's involved in it. It's not just you. You can't do it on your own. What God wants you to do, you can't do it on your own. That's why we be so confused most of the time. How I'm gonna do it? Where the money gonna come from? You know, because it's so big. But God is going to send you what you need. He said he equips us to do what he wants us to do, and he's going to provide for us what we need for that thing that he has called us to do.
I agree. And a lot of times it is really, it's really exciting and scary, mostly scary when you look at it at first, when he gives you something that's so big, you know, when you get a promise that you really can't do by yourself. Then you definitely know that one of the things he's going to teach you is how to trust him.
And we were talking about what assignments God gave us and stuff, and I was just trying to figure out how in the world was I going to reach the people like God wanted me to reach. At this time, she wasn't on the radio. She didn't have a radio station. None of this. You weren't on Facebook. None of that.
Right.
And now that you have all this, and I can do what he told me to do through what he has given you.
Right.
And so you never know who he's going to use and how.
Exactly. And it takes all of us to really get going on our purpose, really activating it. And it was crazy because we were talking, this is when I was wrestling, y'all, and I'm talking about wrestling. I'm talking about tears kind of wrestle, sweat. I'm up in the middle of the night, just hot. I can't even go to sleep. Mind just going, no lack of peace. I said, this is not. I know I'm not called to live all stressed out. I know it. It's something that I'm supposed to do. And I just don't know what else to do. So I'm going to stay in this place and I'm going to continually seek you until you give me clarity. And I was telling my mom, I said, Mom, I just want to teach the world. I want to teach you. And I know some of us are so humble that we can't even really share what our real goals are, because we don't want people to think that we're trying to be bigger than where we are. But I told her, I said, Mom, and I say it lightly, and I probably shouldn't have said it lightly. I should have just said it how it is. I want to teach the world. And it was only in reflection that I sat back and I was like, okay, now you have the radio station. We've gone global. They're listening to all of the radio hosts. They're listening to all of the positive songs. This is teaching the world.
That's right.
So sometimes it's the humble people out there, gone be big. It's okay, gone be big. Greatness takes room. It takes up space. Some of us just need to be great and be all right with being great. Some of us been barely making it for so long. Or maybe we grew up poor or without the means that we needed, or we didn't have the support or the guidance, or nobody taught us, or nobody's in business or ministry, whatever it is. you're doing, and you're like, how could I do this? Who am I to do something like this? But I'm calling a lot of y'all out in 2021. It's really time for a lot of us to just go and be great and be okay with that. You can be great and not have a huge ego.
That's right.
But some of us, and I call it one extreme or the other. Either you have this large, overinflated ego, or you don't really give yourself enough credit. Let's be somewhere in the middle, be balanced. But you do yourself a disservice when you don't really name the potential you have.
You know what? And it comes to mind with one of my professors. I use him as a reference. Of my college professors. And he said, Faye, he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write a letter, and I want you to put down how great you are. I want you to put down that you're magnificent in this, speaker, whatever the case may be, and then I'm going to sign off on it.
I'm gonna have to do that myself. That's a good idea. Y'all heard that? Tell us one more time. Okay, y'all. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to challenge you guys that's listening to do that. And then I want you guys, if you feel comfortable, I want you guys to send it to us. You're going to go to mixedtalkradio.org. There will be a box for you to leave a comment and tell us how great you are. I want to just encourage us. That's going to be up tonight. Again, that's www.mixed, that's MIXED, talkradio.org. There's going to be a questionnaire set up on the homepage because I want to hear, what is your greatness statement for 2021?
About yourself.
If you're already in the chat, if you're watching this live or you're watching the replay of the show on our Mixed Talk Media Facebook page, why don't you drop it in the chat? Tell, what is your 2021 greatness statement? I'm going to be thinking about that, and I'm going to drop mine in the chat too. So visit us at mixedtalkmedia.org. Now, when you did that, did you really have full confidence when you was writing it?
Not in the beginning, but after he said it, and I was shocked that he would, would even tell me to do that. Right. He said, I want you to write your great, how great you are. And, he said, just don't leave anything back. And he said, I will sign my name on it.
I just feel like that's a word for somebody.
I'm like, wow.
I just feel like, life been beating you up, or there's been some sort of lack of clarity, or things might be going good. And it's just a word of reassurance, just knowing that, it's okay to be great. Because I don't think we're created to be mediocre.
No.
Like, I'm not going to be average. So when you come talk to Shunte, don't even expect it. Don't even expect it. Because if you suspect mediocrity for me, then we're not on the same page. So, and then when you want to level up, because that's going to be our next series, we're going to have the Gold Digger series, which is what we're talking about today. It's time. Then we're going to go into the level up. And you have to be able to be in a circle with people who are not mediocre either. Because then how you going to know if you're great? If you're surrounded by mediocre people or mediocre. And we're not saying that they're bad people or not good people, anything like that. But when people have basic expectations for their life.
I heard it said this way. If you're in a circle, and it's like what Shunte saying, we're not saying it to put anybody down or to make us bigger than anyone else. But I heard it said this way. If you're in a circle of friends or whatever, and you like, how can I say it? You've gone to another level to where they are, then it's time for you to move up.
Right. If you're the smartest person in the room,
I didn't want to say it like that.
Well, hey,
I didn't want to just come out and say it, but I could have said that.
It's 2021. After 2020, ain't nothing you can't say no more. I'm just saying, this is all about freeing somebody. This is all about freedom, and you cannot get free cutting corners. Sometimes you have to call things what they are. So if you have outgrown people and you know,
Right.
nobody has to tell you you've outgrown some folks.
Right. It's just like a pair of shoes.
You know,
I was in a size 8 for years, and all of a sudden I'm jumping up to 8.5, 9. I'm like, what is this?
you were still trying to be in the 8 though, wasn't you?
Oh,
okay.
that hurts.
It hurt. And it's like that in life. You stick around with people you've outgrown and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt the potential of your future. It's going to hurt the time that it's taking on your journey to get to where you're going. Because I'm a full believer you're going to get there. As long as you keep moving, you're going to get there.
You're going to get there.
You're going to get there. Some of us, we take different turns on our own. Sometimes you have seasons where you have to sit down, you have to rest. Some seasons where you run full speed. I mean, it's just different seasons of life, and you have to know by the rhythm your life is on. But when you've outgrown places and people, the more you stay in those environments, they're gonna start. You're gonna start to feel it.
Right.
You're gonna feel it, and you're gonna have a distaste for it. And you're going to have a desire for something else, for something new. And again, that is not to say this person, these people, this group of people are not good people anymore. They could be down, they could be your ride or die. But you need to also include people that challenge you to keep growing.
Exactly.
Because if you stay at the top, you never rise higher, and there's always a higher.
That's right.
And when I say a higher, I'm not talking about higher in self perspective or how we view ourselves.
No, it's just that it's always somebody smarter than you.
Always somebody better looking, always somebody more fit. There's always somebody else. But you have to worry about you. What are you doing to be in the place that you want to be in? What are you doing so that you're not crying every night? Are you seeking therapy or counseling services? Y'all know I'm big on mental health. I'm all about really getting in there and getting that outside support. Sometimes you're trying to get therapy for somebody that's in the circle and they looking at it just too close. Sometimes we so close on a situation. And we just need to sit back and get somebody else involved with a fresh perspective.
Right.
They may not see it the way you see it. And giving you that second line of sight can be that saving grace.
That's true.
You know?
I'm big on that too, because I am a counselor as well. And but sometimes, when we get the information, what do we do with it?
You apply it.
You can get all the information, all the correct information, but if you don't apply it, it's not going to help you one bit.
Nope. You have to apply it, because I was, just having a conversation. I said, what are you doing? Are you accepting this? And all advice doesn't apply, right? You have to sift it. What you feel, and when I say comfortable, I'm not meaning like comfortable, because some things we need to accept will make us highly uncomfortable.
That's correct.
But things are in alignment with what God told you for your life, you accept those things and you apply. Otherwise, you're just paying somebody to listen to your story. And if that's the case, you can just call your friends up.
Just call me. No, I'm just kidding. My goal is to help.
Right. So, and you want your clients to be able to apply the advice, the wisdom, the experience,
exactly,
so that they can see the growth that they're paying you to see, or that they're, investing in you,
right,
to see in their life.
Yeah, I always tell my clients that, once I give you the information, take it before God.
Yeah, that's good.
Take it before, take it to Him. And then go from there. I always tell them that.
Right. Because no one person should be your end, that what they give you should be the end all of it. If you've gotten something and it's a totally different line of sight than you're used to seeing, it is wise to take it in prayer and say, hey, this is what I've been told to do. Please help me with the understanding of how to actually apply this to my life. And you don't have to have all these big old words in your prayer. Lord, help me to do this. Help me to change. Help me shut my mouth when I want to say something crazy. I've been in that situation. Change my language.
And a lot of times too, that also is a part of the journey.
It is.
Because when he gives you something, he's going to work on you as well in that journey.
I agree. It's a process, and sometimes it takes going from step to step to step to step, because in reality we want a step one and a step done, and that's all we want. But sometimes growth, I know growth, I'm gonna tell y'all now, as much as I advocate change, my whole company is Women Empowering Change. Change is one of the hardest things I think people have to undergo.
Yeah, because majority of people don't like change.
Right.
A lot of them say, why fix it? What's that saying?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Some of us broken. We broken emotionally. We broken financially. We broken mentally. And it takes a commitment to yourself that you're going to see this thing through. And after my divorce, y'all, I've had 5 years of change. It has taken 5 years to get to a place where I feel like emotionally I am healthy and happy and whole.
5 years?
Yeah, it's been something like that. I'm not keeping track, y'all. But yes, I am. It's been about 5-6 years.
Wow.
5-6 years. But my point is, it wasn't overnight.
Right, exactly.
And sometimes some breakups, you need time.
Yes, you do.
You may need more than a year. Now, I'm not saying it took 5 years for me to be able to date, but it took 5 years for me to be in a place where multiple components of my life were in order.
It takes time to heal, because it's really, you can really look at divorces like death.
It is.
It is. A lot of people have to mourn.
You do. And it is a death, and I tell you, no matter if you wanted it or not, it's a part in your life where it's a very pivotal change. It's a pivot point. You really have to, you just forced to go another way. But sometimes in the process, we lose, we just say, oh, this is too hard, or it hurts too much. I give up, I quit. And I'm the first to say, I've quit several times. I'm just like, what, I can't do this. But at the end of the day, I'm like, Lord, forgive me for that. Thank you for knowing my heart. Thank you for knowing that I have a human's worth of capacity. I only have a human capacity for pain.
And you know what? Somebody may be listening that's dealing with this right now.
Right.
In a marriage, and it's just, you're kind of like separated in a sense, or at odds with each other. You know what? You can say a simple prayer, and you can say, Lord, fix that. Help me to fix that. Help us fix that bridge between us. Even though, no matter who caused the issue, it doesn't matter. At this point, it doesn't matter, right? So just say a simple prayer, Lord, help me, help us to get back together, and see what happens.
Right. And then you will know. And it could be a simple prayer for any area of your life. Lord, help me to smile again. Because some of us only have a temporary smile. We put on a smile when we're in front of people. We put on a smile when we're at work. But when we're at home, we sad. And nobody's, I'm not a big judger. I'm not going to judge you for that. I'm going to encourage you to ask for your smile again. I've had to ask for it. Lord, refill my joy. Help me to be happy, because these are all choices. And sometimes the choice, people be like, happiness is a choice. Sometimes the choice is hard. Because sometimes life will get you and beat you down.
That's right.
But it still is a choice, and we get to choose happiness, and he will help us. He will refill us. Sometimes we just need the renewing of our mind. Lord, help me to see this differently.
And you know what else is a choice? A couple of things. Love.
Ooh, that's a
choice. It's not a,
that's a big one.
I grew up so long thinking that it was a feeling. It is a choice. You choose to love somebody. Also, it's a choice to forgive.
And these are
Because if
components of growth too.
because if you want that smile back on your face, you have to be able to forgive that person. Even if they were wrong, you have to be able to forgive them so you can move forward.
And sometimes the person is you. Sometimes you have to forgive you.
Yes.
You have to forgive you. And it's okay. I mean, if you're not having a good day, you're not having a good day.
Yeah.
Now we are at the end of the show, and I always for 2021, I know that 2020 was a challenge. It presented a lot of challenges for a lot of people. And if you're still dealing with some of the issues that 2020 presented, or some of the loneliness, or we've all been kind of separated, and that brings about issues of its own, I encourage you to seek some support, even if it's the support of a girlfriend or a therapist, counselor, because what we want is to see. I want to see you guys. I really do want to hear you guys 2021 greatness statement. How great do you plan on being in 2021? You can drop it in the chat, or you can go to mixtalkmedia.org. It'll be there tonight. So I want you guys to chime in. Let us know, what is your greatness statement? And then we're going to be praying for y'all. We'll pray over them. I think that's really good. I'm going to get the squad, see if the squad will help me pray over your greatness statements, because it takes a community even to do the things we think we're doing individually. And I really want to say 2020 showed us that we are not doing these things alone. No, if you're successful, you didn't get that by yourself. Somebody bought your product, they called you, they invested, somebody did something.
That's right.
So if we can go into 2021 already with that greatness statement, then my hope is that as we go through the series, as you guys are really digging in, you're really putting the action behind the statement. So thank you guys for tuning in. It was the Double Dust Show on Let's Talk Life Excel with Shunte Gamble and
Faye,
the mom and the daughter. Now I'll be coming. We got a few announcements really quick. So for one, you guys know that you can tune in to mixtalkmedia.org every Monday and Friday at 7 a.m. And on Mondays at 7 a.m., we have the Renewed Woman podcast. And then every Friday at 7 a.m., we have
Faye, what's on your mind? I want to hear. The show is called What's on Your Mind, and I want to know what's on your mind. So send me some things that's on your mind, and we'll talk about it.
And you can find her personal page on mixtalkmedia.org, and you can go to our show host. And on our show host, you can find her page, what's on your mind, and then you can drop her some comments, let her know, and she's going to kind of bring those things up and talk about them on the show.
That's correct.
And give you some nuggets,
I'll
wisdom.
give you some free nuggets.
Are we all about that for 2021? And then on Saturdays, that's where you can find me. Tune in 1:00. We have also a whole lineup of shows on Mixed Talk Media. I'm so excited, you guys. So you guys have to tune in. Find us on mixtalkmedia.org. On Saturday, we have our show at 12 o'clock. It's Resilient Living with Tia. I'm on at 1:00. Let's Talk Life Excel. And It's Real Life at 3 o'clock. All right, you guys. I will see you guys next Saturday with another guest, and we're going to continue the gold digging series. All right, y'all. Bye, y'all.
Bye.